Good day, fellow citizens. Coming at you from IAE Day 6, I believe it is. Today, we've got Argo, Consolidated Outland, Greycat Industrial, and Kruger Intergalactic. I believe only about half the showrooms are active today, but why don't we jump right into it? So on the main floor here, you can see that this is primarily occupied by all the Argo stuff. So over on the right-hand side, we've got the Argo ATLS and the CSV S version. That's the little cargo version. It's kind of a personal favorite of mine for running bunkers, actually. It's a really nice thing to drive around in there. You get a decent amount of storage. And then, of course, there's the ATLS, the cargo loader. An absolute necessity these days. The physicalized cargo. Over on the left-hand side here, we've got the MPUV variants. So starting with the oddly named MPUV cargo. Call it oddly named because all you can really do in it is packages. I don't think you can really store a lot of actual cargo in there. And you've got the MPUV tractor. So this one has the ability to carry one in the back between the landing gear there, and then has two tractor beams front and back. So you can carry, I believe it's 3 SCU or 332 SCU boxes. And then this here is the MPUV, I think it's personnel. Yeah. So it actually, if you look on the back module here, it's got drop seats. So it's meant to carry 8 passengers in this little tiny thing, believe it or not. Now, none of these actually have quantum drives, so you're going to probably want to carry those in a larger ship, or they're nice for just shuttling people around, or people or cargo around. So, looking at the larger ships here, starting on the left-hand side today, we've got the Argo Mall. This is the multi-person mining ship. I say multi-person or multi-crew. I think the mass majority of people actually run it solo and just put 3 different mining heads on it for 3 different circumstances and then just kind of run between the seats. That's what I do anyways. Personally, I do prefer the Prospector for MISC over the Mole. Yes, the Mole can actually break a lot more rocks, but I find the Prospector kind of good enough for the time being. Then there's the Argo SRV. So this is the salvage recovery vehicle. It's a ship I really want to like, but I can never get it to work. So this ship actually has a very large tractor beam on the back. Let's quickly show you here. And the only time I can ever actually get it to work is if the ship is already in space. So anytime that anytime any size of ship actually is on a planet, it won't actually pick it up. It's like the gravity forces are too high for it. And then with the inability to actually use a tractor beam around like mining areas, like the mining outposts, that's where you find most of the ships that I'd actually like to salvage anyways. So unless you happen to stumble across a ship in open space or near a spaceport, it's not overly useful. But it's one of those, like, again, I really want to like this ship. I really want to use this ship because I think it'd be incredibly useful. And maybe in the future when you start to get salvage or construction hangars and stuff like that, where you can actually take a ship and bring it back and disassemble it later, it'll be a lot more useful than it is today. Then you've got the Argo Raft. This is another one that I'm really on the fence on. I mean, I love the way that the Argo series looks. I'd actually love to have a hangar just kind of stockpile it with Argo stuff because I do love the way that these ships look. But unfortunately, this one to me just, for a cargo ship, it needs more cargo. So they did make a change recently so you can actually put multi-size boxes in here. You're not limited to just the 332s. But to me, I don't know, it feels like it needs a lot more cargo. But I guess I'm going to be competing against the Hull B and the Hull C. So just give me a minute and I will run over to Hall 3 and we'll continue the tour there. Okay, we're over in Hall 2. Turns out Hall 3 is actually closed today. I thought it was open, so my apologies there. So starting over on the right-hand side, we've got the Consolidated Outland. No, sorry, that's the brand. This is the Mustang Delta. And then over here, this actually looks like another Mustang variant. I'm not sure which one, though. Yes, the Mustang Alpha. In the center here, these are going to be the 2 hover quads on either side. And then in the middle, I believe this is a Nomad. Yes. It's the Consolidated Outland Nomad. And then over on the outsides, a couple more Mustang variants. So starting with the Gamma. The nice blue and silver paint job right there. And then finally, the Beta in the orange paint job here. So, Consolidated Outland has had a little bit of drama lately because they announced yesterday, I believe it was, that the Pioneer by Consolidated Outland, that is the massive construction vehicle, the price of it was going up. And they are no longer going to be including land claims with it. Now, I actually just signed on about half an hour after it opened, and it turns out that all of the war bond and regular price offers for the Pioneer are actually sold out. So I guess clearly it didn't really have much of an effect. So I believe those are time-limited sales. They come on 3 or 4 times during the day. So check their website for further details if you did want to pick one of those up and you feel like you missed out. I mean, there's always a gray market as well where you might get your 8x8 land plot. So if you give me a second here, I will run downstairs and we'll continue the tour down there. So downstairs underneath the main conference center, under all the Argo stuff we saw in the beginning, starting on the right-hand side, we've got the Rock DS and followed by the Rock. Now, the Rock is the single-player version. The Rock DS is the multiplayer version. So if you look, this is a, you've got this little tiny seat on the side here. That's where your extra passenger rides. Now, in theory, I believe the Rock DS has a larger mining laser on it. Both of these are mining ships, sorry. It has a larger mining laser on it. But for the most part, I've never seen anybody actually use it. I only ever see people use the Rock. It's my personal favorite for land mining as well. And you've also got the STV and the PTV. These are 2 kind of smaller, almost civilian ground transport versions. So I find these handy for getting around my extra large hangar, actually. Makes life a little bit easier than doing the 10-minute run every time you bring up a ship. So I'll just hop over into the holodecks and see what we have here today. Oh, turns out there's only one holodeck image today. And this, I believe, is the Pioneer that we were talking about earlier. So it looks like this is the remodeled version of the Pioneer. Let's get you a screenshot of that if you're interested. But with the introduction of the base building stuff, they've gone and they've made a bunch of changes to this vehicle, at least the concept of this vehicle. So the Pioneer is now going to be able to handle a lot more things. It's basically a mobile base, for lack of better words. You'll be able to construct other vehicles, ground vehicles, smaller ships and things like that, as well as build any building that's known, including entire space stations with this thing. So I imagine that this is going to come in as a pretty massive ship. Think of it as kind of like a capital ship of the building realm. All right. There's no real confirmed date on when we're actually going to see Pioneer in game, although they did kind of allude to it being available within the next year as they look to get into construction and more base building stuff. And now finally, we've got the Kruger series. So there's only 2 ships. There's the Archimedes and the Merlin, I believe this is. Yep. two little fighters. They're great, kind of, if you tag them onto a larger ship. They're great little fighters for that. That being said, I don't believe either of them have quantum drives in them, and they're pretty limited in the distance they can actually go. But if you're just looking for a small speed fighter to go up and down out of atmosphere or something, these are definitely worth considering. All right. Well, that is everything for today. Again, no big announcements, no big surprises or anything. This is turning out to be a pretty drama-free IAE, to be honest. But we'll see what next week actually has. I'm hoping they have something big and exciting in store for us. So, with that said, I will leave you guys to it. Thank you very much for coming out and watching the video today. If you like what you see, subscribe. If we do get that big notice next week, I will hopefully be one of the first to announce it. So make sure you're subscribed so that it actually pops up and you can see it before everybody else. All right. With that said, have yourselves a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the verse.